Have you turned it over to me? I could only hear every third word you were saying.
You might want to put your phone on mute. Leo is beautiful to hear, but your microphone picks up really well at the phone we have you on. Okay, we ready? All right, great. Thank you for your patience. We're back into our regular meeting. The next item is we're going to view a video that has been produced for our businesses and our citizens in Mount Holly. It's a fantastic job, and so we're going to put this on. This has been posted on Facebook and shared many times. I wanted to make sure the council was fully aware of it, had seen it, as well as make those of you online aware of it. We certainly can post this again to make sure everybody has access. Booma. So fantastic job, guys. I want to thank everybody who put that together. That's incredible. So it gives me chills to watch it. So fantastic. Thank you so much. And if you need it, please let us know. We'll be happy to send that out to you. So we sent out a communication through all the different avenues that we have as a city to instruct people. If you wanted to speak during the public hearing, you needed to contact Amy Miller via phone message by 8:30 this morning. We did not have anyone leave a message that they wanted to speak, so I wanted to address that up front, as we do have a few items to discuss, and one being the public hearing. So I'll entertain a motion to go out of our regular meeting into a public hearing for the Small Business Emergency Loan Program. Ms. Shoemaker, second by Mr. Meadows. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion passes. We are now in our public hearing. Marie, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, Mr.
Okay,
Mayor.
I will turn it over to you.
Thank you. Good morning. So what you have before you is a resolution to approve a small business emergency loan program. This is not deja vu. This is very similar to the loan program that was already established. That loan program was established on an emergency basis, and it was at the end of March 30th. And the loan program would be on a stronger statutory footing in terms of being able to remain after this state of emergency that's been declared in, if it's also passed under separate statutory authority, which is the Economic Development Appropriations Authority. That statutory authority does require 10 days notice in the newspaper and a public hearing. So that had not happened yet as of March 30th when the loan program was initially adopted. And so this loan program before you takes place. It's a very similar loan program, but it takes place after notice in the newspaper and a public hearing, and so it's now grounded under the Economic Development Statute. I will point out that the interest rate in this resolution is blank. Any motion to approve this resolution would also need to include a rate of interest to be charged in the motion, and there are some slight changes in eligibility criteria over the last resolution. And the changes are clarifying in nature some questions that came up between March 30th and now as applicants put in their loan applications. And they are clarifying that this is only for-profit businesses, and it clarifies what zoning requirements are in place as well. If there are any questions, I will turn that over to the mayor at this time. If there are any questions for me, thank you.
All right, we have no one that has signed up to speak in the public hearing. I'll entertain a motion to go out of our public hearing. Back into our regular meeting. Motion by Mr. Meadows, second by Mr. Moore. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion passes. So, council, I don't know if you have any questions for Ms. Anders. I know just to kind of do a preamble to this for those who are watching and interested. So, in doing some due diligence over the last several days on specifically the interest rate as it applies to our ability as a city to provide loans to small businesses and actually make it something that businesses would be willing to address and help them the most. We were made aware that Mecklenburg County has instituted a 3% interest rate on their loans. We've done research. We've vetted this as a city legally. We've looked at all the parameters related to it. The standard would be what banks are charging businesses for loans. As you know, the Payroll Protection Program charges 0 interest on loans, and in fact, these can be forgivable if the business does prove that they use this money for the appropriate items the government has laid out. So therefore, banks are lending money at 0%. And so now Mecklenburg County is using 3%. That is something our council is considering and would be able to move in this program, if the motion is made for that, to move the loan from 6.75% to 3% to be more competitive, which is actually happening in the market today. And these are circumstances that are unprecedented. We don't have laws on the books or statutes or anything that addresses this specifically. So we are all in uncharted territories, but we got to do what we got to do for our businesses. So this is an opportunity for us to do that. Council, do you have any questions? Mr. Meadows?
So the one thing we haven't discussed is I believe we have a few loans that are already done. Will the current loans be modified to meet the current terms?
Council, will you be okay with readjusting those loans and reissuing them at 3% instead of 6.75%? Okay.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the loan program at 3% and modify any existing loans to comply with the eligibility of the current program versus the previous program.
All right. I'm going to give that a resolution number, and that would be 0417-2020A. I have a motion on the floor, second by Mr. Moore. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion passes. Thank you very much. Marie, thank you for all your hard work. I really appreciate all you've done and being prepared and trying circumstances in your family. So we really appreciate your efforts and all you've done. Next item is...
I would like to thank the loan committee as well for their help in drafting additional criteria. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Loan committees work way beyond what's expected of anyone right now, so we appreciate their dedication and hard work. And as Amy Hollingsworth hair is being pulled out currently, bless her heart, she's done a tremendous job, guys. She makes this work, so we're so thankful for her. Number 7, consideration approval of a low bid for the Old Hickory Grove Road Waterline Project Budget Amendment and Capital Project Ordinance. Mr. Wilson. And I do remind, I didn't do this earlier, but if you are speaking into the mic, we are going to make efforts to sterilize it, but also please speak into it clearly. It's hard to hear through this mic.
Thank you, Mayor. So before you, as you stated, is the Old Hickory Grove Water Main Improvement Project. We bid this project on February 20th of 2020. The low bidder was Fuller & Company Construction, LLC. The total bid for this project was $1,037,634.36. At this time, I'd be happy to answer any questions regarding the budget amendment or the project itself and moving forward.
So the city manager, I know you guys got this email, but it's kind of hard to go back and forth, so I will read his recommendation. Would be to deny bid due to the funding constraints. We can rebid the project after having more information regarding revenue streams due to the projections after COVID-19. So there's some uncertainty there on revenues. pretty big project, something that seems that we can delay based on the city manager's recommendation.
Do we have to take any action, or do we die for lack of a motion?
It dies for lack of a motion. You don't have to do anything. Any questions? All right, thank you, Jonathan. Just stay where you are. Next, consideration approval of low bid for the Tuckasegee Park Storage Building Project. Mr. Wilson?
Thank you, Mayor. So this was a project for the Parks and Rec Department, a new storage building at the Tuckasegee Park. It was a 30 by 40 foot building, 1,200 square feet. We bid the project. We only had one bidder submit a bid for the project, even after re-advertisement. That bid did come in over budget, so I'll turn it back to the council.
So as a reminder, the city manager recommended denying the bid because it is over budget, and there'll be a better time to do this at another time when things are back to normal. So we won't need to take any action unless council wishes to. Everybody good? Okay. Next is consideration approval of low bid for the River Park patching project.
Thank you, Mayor. So this project came from some damage to the roadways in the River Park subdivision due to the construction activities. There are 6 main areas that need to be patched. It's approximately 2,100 square feet, but other areas in the neighborhood are also deteriorating as we speak due to the construction activity. This time I'm going to turn back over to you for further discussion.
Okay. Just to remind you, the city manager's recommendation is to accept this bid due to the need to stop and stabilize deterioration of the road surface. Council have any questions, comments?
Move approval.
I have a motion for approval from Mr. Meadows, second by Ms. Shoemaker. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion passes. Thank you. Next item is consideration approval of the low bid for the Dutchman's Creek Greenway project. Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, Mayor. So this project will be a greenway. It's approximately 2,600 linear feet, 10-foot wide asphalt greenway going from Highway 27 next to the Caramont Emergency Facility, and will wrap around following the sewer easement to River Street Park, North Lee Street. The project did come in close to the budget that was in this year's budget. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
So as a reminder, the city manager's recommendation, accept the bid, but not take action on the budget amendment, as this will be addressed later in the budgeting process. Any questions, comments for Mr. Wilson or Mr. Jackson? Okay.
Given that the greenways are a key part of something we've worked on for a very long time, the element of our economic development program, I'd like to move approval of the bid and delay the budget amendment action until the budget process.
Okay. Have a motion, second by Ms. Harris. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next, consideration to approve a request of annexation for the Jonas property. Y'all are gonna love this. Mr. Michael.
Well, good morning, everyone. I guess this is a meeting that we'll never forget. Funny thing happened on the way to this meeting on number 11 regarding annexation of Jonas. Lo and behold, the property changed hands on March the 16th, and the petitioner was no longer the owner. And under the statute, at the time of annexation, the owner of the property has to also have been the petitioner for annexation. So we really have a flaw in the process brought on by the petitioner's own action in conveying the property. I don't really believe the council can take action to affirmatively approve the annexation.
So Kemp, just a further clarification. So since it changed hands, it now has to go through another process of annexation and rezoning, correct?
I think so, yes. I mean, it's definitely on the annexation. And the rezoning hearing was originally brought forward by REO, that used to be the original owner, and then they conveyed it to Charles Jonas Highway Properties, LLC, and that created a situation where the annexation had to be started over then. We let the zoning just stay as it was in the first public hearing because that's the same zoning that the new petitioner wanted anyway. Now this is drug on so long and it's just so ridiculous that I just think it would be wise to start the rezoning over when the annexation is begun over, if it is begun.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Michael? Wow. Okay, so for those of you online, we did go into closed session quickly to discuss the new loan program interest rate.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
now it's totally up to the council, but you could vote to deny the petition of annexation.
well, do we, is that I mean, we're happy to take that action if that's what we need to do, or do we take no action because you're not annexing it? Would you prefer we took action?
Who are you talking to, Mayor?
I'm talking to you, Kemp. So you asked a question
I
directly to
think-
council. Do you want us to take
I
action?
recommend that you take action to deny the annexation petition.
Okay. Jeff's germs are all over this microphone. Nobody wants it.
I'd like to make a motion to deny the annexation for petition because the property has changed hands and no longer follows the statutory requirements for annexation.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor, second by Ms. Polish. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion passes. Thank you. Thank you, Kemp. So, as I was stating, we are going into closed session again for attorney-client privilege, 143-318.11A3 and 5 of the North Carolina General Statute. This closed session will take a little longer than the previous one, so I just want to update those who are watching online. We will be going off air for a few minutes, and then we'll be back to take any action the council wants or to adjourn. So we will entertain a motion to go into closed session. Motion by Ms. Polish, second by Ms. Shoemaker. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. We are in closed session. How about on up here the live feed off?